us. So now we turn the proceedings over to you. As our audience will see, this unique and tight group of students, of friends, who will care for each other into the future, taking with them the bonds they forged during these years at CDS. They have a lot to tell you. So sit back, relax, and let our graduates, in their own words, show you what it means to be a member of Community Day School's graduating class of 2017.
My family was in the car, and we were talking about CDS. It's just a school, my brother said. And a church, my sister pointed out. CDS has been so much more than just a school. One of my favorite things about CDS is how strong the community is. Whether it's my friends' parents, or my friends' grandparents, I always say hi or give them a hug. If I see someone from a younger grade that I recognize, or alums, or my friends' families on the street, we smile and wave. Next year, when my school colors are green and white instead of blue and yellow, I know that I can still stop into my teachers' rooms and talk with them. When we talked about today with our teachers, the students and teachers shared sad faces. Once, I was at a restaurant, and a little boy popped his head out of the booth, so Daniel and I waved. I was wearing my basketball sweatshirt, and Jessica was wearing a CDS t-shirt. "Hi," the boy said. "You go to my school." Later, someone working there said, "You guys are from CDS? My daughter's an alum." See, it doesn't matter how someone is part of the community. Whether they're a student or a parent of an alum, you're forever part of the fun. I'm so happy I got to spend 9 years surrounded by strength, support, and spirit. My experience at CDS has been amazing and unforgettable. Leaving CDS will be hard, but I know that this community is strong and caring, and once you're part of it, that never changes.
I am a lifer. That's over 1,539 days. I did the math. Graduation has finally come. I've been here since 2008, always asking the same question. When is it going to be my turn? My parents chose CDS as when they saw a child they knew as a menace. However, at CDS, it surprised them how much he was behaving like a mensch. At that moment, my parents said this was the school. So this was the only school they toured. The Jewish education that I have received at CDS helped me with my bar mitzvah last year. Having my friends, family, and classmates there, along with my Jewish education, brought me closer to my Jewish and Israeli identity. I look forward to being able to travel to Israel with my class and complete my 9 years here on a high note. I want to thank the teachers, the staff, my classmates, and everyone that made CDS a community for me. I want to leave you all with one thought. Graduation isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the next chapter.
An experience where I felt a part of the CDS community was on the 7th grade Washington, D.C. trip. After dinner, my roommates and I were starting to get bored, so we decided to go to the other boys' room. Once we entered, we immediately were greeted with cookies and warm smiles. We started watching a baseball game while passing around a ball and playing truth or dare. One of the boys started making s'mores, but messed up and burnt most of them, so we gave all the burnt ones to the girls. All of us were laughing. It was one of the first times that I felt close to my other peers. It felt like we all had a really strong bond and that we all felt responsible for each other. I learned what it feels like to have someone who's got your back, and I also learned how to be a good friend and get along with my peers.
In 6th grade, I joined the middle school basketball team and played every year after that. I was always devastated during the last game of the season because I knew the 8th graders would not be playing with us next year. But I always knew that I would have the next year to play again. This year, on the other hand, was different because I knew that it was my last year playing on the team. We had such an amazing time in our last game. We gave it everything we had. I remember looking at my teammates' faces throughout the game, and everyone always had a smile on their face. Even though we did not win, we still had the time of our lives. But as all things do, the game and season came to an end. I remember standing in a circle with our team for the last time. I looked over to see two of my friends who have been on the team with me for all 3 years, with tears streaming down their faces. Even though I was crushed that the season was over, I was and still am so grateful that I got to have the incredible experience of being part of the CDS Middle School basketball team for 3 years.
When someone goes to a new school, they always feel the pressure of being just like everyone else. Or they don't always act like themselves just so others will like them better. This was not the case at CDS. But when I started middle school, it did seem like there were these unwritten rules about how you had to look or act. However, my grade refused to abide by these rules. Our grade has managed to overcome the stereotypical role of what it means to be a middle school student. We have not been afraid to be enthusiastic at services. We also aren't afraid that if we spend time with our teachers, we will be seen as goody-goodies. Over time, CDS has made me feel comfortable with who I am. Making the switch from a 16-kid class to a 450 class at Alderdice next year might make other kids feel uncomfortable, but not me. I will always know that it doesn't matter what others think of me. Throughout my 9 years at CDS, I have learned to always be myself, no matter the surroundings or the environment.
I came to CDS last year. I was used to being in a big school with over 100 kids in my grade, and most of them didn't know each other. When I came to CDS, there were 15 other kids in my grade, and they all knew each other so well. They were like a big, yet small family. I'm so grateful that I've come to this school and been able to join this close and amazing family. I know that I can count on them if I'm in trouble, having a bad day, or just need help. We're going to high school soon, and I know that we will be in a grade with a lot of new people, but I'm sure that we will remain the good friends that we always have been, and I know that my classmates will always be there for me to lean on.
When most students graduate, they want to thank their teachers for the education they have received. I would like to thank my teachers for so much more than just an education. I would like to thank my teachers for the education and the independence I have gained. When I came here in kindergarten, most of my classes were just in one room with few exceptions. And when they weren't, we would all get into a single file line and walk silently behind our teacher to wherever we were headed. That all changed in 4th grade when we were allowed to walk for our classes independently. That was a big change from what I was used to. Even if all my classes were on the same floor, in the same hallway, the independence I felt and I had was important to me that I no longer was constantly walking behind a teacher. Then later in 6th grade, when we had to walk across the tunnel to get to Jewish studies, I felt even more responsible when it was up to me to be on time to all my classes. And 2 weeks ago, when writing this speech, I was determined not to get any help when I needed to add a specific example and simply chose to include writing this speech, my final offering as a CDS student. And with that, I would like to thank all my teachers that helped me grow as a student and as a person.
I've loved sports my whole life. and CDS has only helped my passion for sports grow. The teams at CDS may not be the best. We may not have the strongest, the fastest, and definitely not the tallest players, but we still have fun. The reason why I love sports at CDS is that there's a feeling of being part of the community. In soccer, we may not score the most goals, but when we do score, the whole team goes crazy. Even if we haven't scored a goal in a couple of games, everybody is still enthusiastic at practice because there's a feeling that you are not alone. Very recently, we had our very first CDS Ultimate Frisbee game. Everybody was so excited to play and have fun. It didn't matter that we lost track of the score. We may have only scored 4 to the other team's 100 or so points, but when we did score, the whole bench went crazy. People were jumping up and down and yelling at the top of their lungs. Even when the other team scored, our bench was yelling, "Nice try, it's okay, and you'll hit your growth spurt eventually," to all the players on the field. The sports teams at CDS weren't all about winning, but they were about everyone thriving and working together as a team.
In kindergarten, there were 26 of us. In second grade, there were 28. And now, there are 16. What happened to the rest of us? Some went to Israel, 1 went to Baltimore, 3 went to Fox Chapel, and 1 came back. And the rest? You don't want to know what happened to them. Some might think it's weird to only have 16 kids in a grade, but I think all of us have gotten closer because of it. There are days where we're all sick of each other, and there are days where we can't wait to see each other. Together we have gone to Idlewild, Hershey Park, Strawberry Hill, J&R, Washington, D.C., and soon Israel. Every time we take a class picture, it gets a little smaller. On the way to D.C., the bus seemed almost empty, because we all just piled into the back and only took up 4 rows or so, leaving the other 12 empty. There are 13 of us who have been on all of these trips together, and there are 16 of us who would take one last group picture in Israel. Not many people are lucky enough to have been part of such a close community for so long. I have a big family at home, but now I also have a small family here.
I have thought about this day since kindergarten, thinking to myself, wow, you're gonna be here for 9 years, 9 whole years. I have watched class after class get up on this stage, say their speeches, and sing their songs. I always thought to myself how one day I will be up here in a pretty white dress with the rest of my class. Now I am up here, on stage, singing my song and saying my speech. I remember pretending to plan our graduation in 4th grade, as if it was as important as planning a wedding. From what white dresses we would wear, to the perfect pair of shoes, to where we'd all go shopping, and of course, how we would do our hair and nails. Pretending to plan our graduation seems so simple and easy, but let me tell you, it's not. You have to practice and prepare to make sure that everything goes smoothly. You have to make sure that everyone follows the strict instructions of wearing white, not off-white, and certainly not green. And then you have high school coming up on top of it. I have to say that although the dress and shoes are important to me, what is really important is feeling supported and ready to move on to the next stage, high school. But my friends don't feel like friends, they feel like family, and that is something I will miss most about CDS.
I have been going to CDS since kindergarten. I am a lifer, and after 9 years at CDS, I have learned a variety of very important lessons. Probably the most important thing I have learned is don't wait until the last minute to do a research project, or any project for that matter. I learned that the hard way when I was in 6th grade. A friend whose name might rhyme with Barrick Talinsky, and I didn't start our project until the night before it was due. We had planned on starting it after school, but we were distracted by video games, taking something apart, and being generally irresponsible. When it was time for Barrick to go home, we realized we hadn't even started, and he had to call his mom and beg for more time. After some intense negotiations, he was allowed to stay for another half hour, which became a pattern. Every half hour, he'd call and beg for some more time. At 11 p.m., we finally got the project done, and he went home. I was so tired, I didn't even make it to my bedroom. I just fell asleep on the couch. Ever since then, I have learned to be a lot more responsible with my time and give myself weeks instead of hours to get big projects done. As I go into high school, this is an experience that will continue to be helpful. I will always remember the time I have spent here at CDS and the great friendships I have made along the way.
I don't like to try new things. I don't like to try new food. I don't like new ideas. I especially don't like new environments and meeting new people. So when I was told that I would be switching schools for middle school, I was terrified. New friends, new classes, and new teacher. So you can imagine my annoyance when one day I was told that I would be going to a picnic at my new school, and school hadn't even started. I didn't want to go. I wanted to just stay at home, lay in my bed, reread Harry Potter for the millionth time. However, that was not an option. I tried to stay close to my parents, but they literally shoved me into my future peers. All of a sudden, I was following a few random girls I just met. I barely talked to them and stumbled on my own feet. I wanted to be anywhere but there. Although things started to get better later, I started talking with the girls, got to know them better, and learned more about the school. Later, we got food, which I happily gobbled down, and we joyously jumped on the bouncy house, laughing as we slid down the slide. This experience with my future classmates helped prepare me for what was ahead. They also helped me feel like I belonged at CDS, just like they continue to do today. Even though I have known everyone for only 3 years, I'm proud that it feels like so much more.
Earlier this year, my grandfather passed away. As you can imagine, it was devastating for me and my family. He was the first grandparent I lost. At his funeral, I was surprised to look around and recognize some of my classmates amongst the sea of unfamiliar faces. People who had no connection to my grandfather came to support me and my siblings. All of my classmates went to a Shiva throughout that week, or the final Shiva, which my grandmother decided to hold at Tree of Life. We invited everyone, and surprisingly, every one of my classmates was there. All of the girls sat with me, surrounding me with warmth and words of prayer. Every one of my CDS classmates was there for me, and that made me realize that the CDS community would be there for me through everything, no matter what.
I feel that throughout my CDS career, I have been my own biggest critic. I was so hard on myself over every little thing. From getting a bad grade on a test to losing a basketball game, I always had the same reaction. I would get so upset at myself that I would break down. If I got in trouble, the punishment was never as the one I inflicted upon myself. I remember in 5th grade, all of our math tests had a challenging word problem at the end, which I could never figure out. In reality, it was only worth 5 points. However, in my mind, it was worth so much more than 5 measly points on a test that would be meaningless in the long run. I was helpless to stop it, and it happened every single time. It took every ounce of self-restraint not to have a meltdown. I knew I needed to change. With the help of my teachers, parents, and friends, I learned that not every little mishap was catastrophic. While today I still believe that I am my harshest critic, I think CDS has helped me change a lot, and for the better.
I came to CDS in 4th grade.
When I first came to America, I didn't know English. To me, it just sounded like everyone was saying blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the first day I walked into the school, I was petrified. I walked up the stairs to the second floor and thought, what if they don't like me and what if I don't like them? Once I walked into the 4th grade classroom, everything I was worried about disappeared. At first, everyone just looked at me. For a second, I thought there was something stuck in my teeth. Seconds later, everyone ran up to me telling me their names and asking me who I was. I'm pretty sure that every girl hugged me, except Allie, she doesn't like hugs. I was so overwhelmed. I wasn't exactly used to everyone being so welcoming and kind. Everyone was so inviting, and that hasn't changed in 5 years. For the rest of the year, everyone helped me with anything I needed and helped me learn English. The ESL teacher was also helpful, except when he told the classroom about the 4th grade incident that no one will ever speak of again. I made sure of that. Over the past years, we have all gotten so much closer. We have a small community and family that will never be forgotten.
I have been at CDS for 6 years, and it has become my second home and family. Since the first day I arrived at CDS as a shy, timid, unfriendly 7-year-old, I have felt embedded in its community. My CDS community has been by my side with each personal achievement and celebration. However, an experience that stands out to me is not particularly unusual or unique. Actually, it is something that happens almost every week. Kabbalat Shabbat. This year, I have many memories of standing with all my friends at the front of the room, leading the whole school in the musical songs of Shabbat. Standing there, lighting the Shabbat candles on behalf of our community, I often look around the room at all of my chime members and fellow CDS schoolmates thinking, how the heck did I get here? How is it that I am leading Kabbalat Shabbat? How is it that every face I see is younger than me? It seems like yesterday when I was at my first Kabbalat Shabbat, watching the rabbi with wide eyes while sitting on the lap of a grown-up 8th grader in my shevet. As I stood there singing L'cha Dodi, I thought about how much all of my friends and I have grown. I was standing in the rabbi's spot, looking at my wide-eyed little kindergartner in my shevet, thinking, where did time go? It was then that I really realized how much impact this community has had in raising me. As we continued to sing, I looked at all the younger students and thought, this is their CDS now. CDS has given me everything I needed and more. So goodbye, CDS, and thank you.